Hello my Funatics and welcome to week 6 of the GBA for Mewcastle United. I'm afraid I haven't been able to do a live recording this week. It was really dependent on just my recording conditions because, and noise and stuff. I do want to bring more live videos to you because you all seem to really enjoy it. And so that's definitely something I want to do. But it's not going to be live this week. We're going against Gio, and I want to say right now, like I've had some interaction with Gio before the GBA, but not much. Like obviously I knew about him because he's been in the GBA and he knows a lot of like the people I know in the community, whatever. But yeah, I've only really started talking to him since being in the GBA, and he is so nice. A really, really great guy. So please check out his channel. His content is great. He's been doing this for a while now, and he knows what he's talking about when it comes to draft league format stuff. So go and check out his channel, check out his side of this match as well as the rest of how he's doing, because that would make me really happy. So do that. If you want to know about my team for this battle, I've uploaded a team builder and it's worth watching just to know what was going through my head while we were going into the battle. So looking at the team that Gio brought, it's interesting. I think it's kind of what I was expecting-ish. I was a bit worried about the Cresselia really more than anything, and also Entei is a big threat. Absol, I really don't have too much for, but that's just because it's a scary thing that I found it quite hard to know how to prep for it. But I do have some berries on stuff that will help me out with that, so I need to play really carefully. That's a Roselli berry on the Crook because it's probably got play rough to be able to hit that, and also a Colbur berry on Mew. So I need to play them really carefully so that I can preserve them to surprise take out that Absol. And also the Gramble did come. I kind of thought that might to stop some Dragon Spam, but actually Kyurem is so powerful that it probably will be able to 2-hit KO with the Ice Beam, so that's alright. So yeah, let's get into the match. Thinking about what I wanted to lead with, I thought that Crook would probably be my best bet because I could get an Intimidate on anything. The only thing I wouldn't really want to see is the Manaphy. Even if a Gramble comes out, at least I get the Intimidate there, so it's not too hard to deal with. We do see the Absol, which is fine. I'm thinking that Gio's probably just wanting to get the Mega off straight away so that he can get the magic bounce going on. I do outspeed this turn, and I am just going to go for an EQ, playing it safe. EQ stands a decent chance to KO from full, depending on his set. But I don't think, I think that it's just my best play right there. There's no reason to over-predict, and I couldn't go for rocks because if he had Protect Magic Bounce, that wouldn't work. But I am actually going to make the ballsy play here, predict the switch, and go for a Stealth Rock. If you'd gone for a play rough there, which I didn't think he would do because he was intimidated, that would have put my Roselli and he would have been able to KO next turn and got rocks on my side of the field, which would have been absolutely dreadful. But I do make the prediction because I want the rocks up. He brings in Zapdos though, and is able to defog straight away. So at least it gave me a free switch into my Squirmy Worm. If he has Toxic or anything, he wasn't able to do that this turn, which means that my Electros will be able to stay healthy a bit longer. And I do get that Momentum Volt Switch because he doesn't have a ground type. So Electros is going to be really great for gaining that momentum right now. And I do a nice chunk to the Cress, but it's looking to be maybe a physically defensive Cress rather than a specially defensive one. I don't see an item, so I'm thinking maybe Colbur Berry. I want to get the Toxicon straight away, which is why I go into my Kyurem. I didn't want to go into Crook because it doesn't take it on quite as well. He does go for the Moonblast. I was thinking maybe a Calm Mindset with Moonblast, but no, that is flipping Specs Cresselia. Max Special Attack Modest Specs Cresselia. I can't even roost on it because it's doing way too much damage. So I'm going to go back into my Assault Vest Squirmy Worm to get like the Pivot Switch on it. But it has taken a nice Volt Switch damage and it's going to take that Toxic damage. I was a bit worried that I had completely wasted my Kyurem getting the Toxic on that. But how was I supposed to know that it would be a Specs Cresselia? So that was really scary and I didn't like that. I'm really hoping that I can roost up with my Kyurem at some point. I should be able to do that maybe on the Manaphy or maybe on the Zapdos depending on the set. But I am just going to Volt Switch again as Cress comes in again. But now knowing that it's Specs, it means that my Crook can easily take it out with a knockoff. And that's actually what I'm going to go for here. Absol doesn't really want to come in on a knockoff because I will do about 50% to it. So it's probably not something that... If I manage to do that, then that's great because it puts it in range of my Mew Signal Beam. But he actually does just opt to sack Crest, maybe thinking I might over-predict and go for rocks or predict a switch in some way. Like the switch to Gramble was an option there. I would have been able to get rid of an item on that as well, though, so it wouldn't be able to get Lefty's recovery or anything like that. That would have been really helpful anyway, so I wasn't concerned about Gramble coming in. Right now I'm going to make a switch to Suicune. I don't have too many good switch-ins on Gramble. Suicune is physically defensive though, so it should be able to take this on all day. But yeah, I have ways to kill it, but this is actually offensive, which made me a bit more worried, because I was thinking if it came, it's probably going to be more of a heal Bella or something like that. But that did a lot of damage. And then we see here the Thunder Punch comes out, and it does an absolute ton. I really wasn't expecting that at all. It does so much damage. I'm going to go for another Scold here because I want to get the burn on this Gramble. It could just stay in and keep Thunder Punching. And I could have rested, but it wouldn't really put me in the best situation there. So I wanted to go try for another turn to get a Scald burn and then rest on that, but it doesn't happen. Neither of my Scalds burn, which is really quite unfortunate, as Manaphy comes in here, and I am going to be forced out of my Suicune. I could have roared here. I didn't think it was the best play though, because I need Suicune relatively healthy to take on the Entei. We don't know the set yet. It could be AV, could be Banded, could be something. I don't really know. Anyway, on the Manaphy, I'm just going to switch into my Electros. That was my game plan with the Manaphy, because Electros is able to take any +3 hit, Volt Switch out, and then I can revenge the Manaphy from there. But I really don't want my Electros to take a Sacred Fire or something like that from the Entei, so I'm going to switch straight back into my Suicune. And let's see if I can manage to take on this Entei. So he goes for the Sacred Fire, and it shouldn't be doing too much. With my lefties, hopefully I should be able to take it on, but actually he gets the burn, and this is really bad. And that damage shows to me that he is probably Adamant banned. I didn't actually see the exact amount, but I know from this range, if he kills me with another Sacred Fire, he's Adamant. If he doesn't, then I keep my Suicune. But if he does, he is probably Adamant banned, and I can actually revenge that really easily because both Crook and my Kyurem outspeed that, as well as my Virizion, all of which will do... Well, Crook will just kill it, Virizion does like 80% with Stone Edge, and Kyurem does about 80% with Draco. So I do have a number of answers to it, but I just don't have any switch-ins anymore, which is a real problem. And yeah, Geo played the Gramble and the Entei really well there, whistling the Suicune so that the Entei could kill it. If he hadn't got the burn, I would have been okay, but burns happen, especially with the Sacred Fire. Right now we get a really awkward situation. I get my rocks up, but Gramble comes in, and I don't have my Suicune anymore, so I don't have great switches in. I do have the Roselli Berry though, and so I just go for an Earthquake, because it looks like 2 Earthquakes should kill the Gramble even after an Intimidate. It was really close to call, but fortunately Geo does switch out, which does imply to me that another Earthquake would have KO'd there. If he got rid of my Crook without me getting rid of his Gramble, that would have put me a bit on the back foot, but it looks like I was right, and that another Earthquake would have taken him out. Anyway, the Zapdos comes in here. I still have a really healthy Electros, which is great. It can take hits from so many things on his team still. As the rocks are taken away by the Zapdos, but I still have my Crook that outspeeds a large portion of his team, which is really nice. I'm so glad that I did choose to go to EV for like the neutral invested base 100s, because it means it outspeeds probably this, because this is looking bulky, and also the Entei, so I should have opportunities to get up rocks. I didn't want to... I just went into Virizion there, because I wasn't really sure what he wanted to do. But anyway, yeah, so I went into Virizion. He actually roars me out into Crook. That's fine. I don't know what his last move is. I've seen Defog, Volt Switch, and Roar, and I'm guessing the last move is probably Roost, but I don't want to risk my Crook right yet, because it is really useful. It's good for revenging the Entei, getting Intimidates on things like the Absol, and also getting up rocks still, so that's what I wanted to do. So I wasn't going to risk it. I switched into my Electros as he actually Geo switches into his Absol, and this isn't a bad situation for me. Though Electros would take a massive hit from the Absol. If I can get a Volt Switch on it, then it puts it in range of my Mew's Signal Beam. Absol is probably still the biggest threat to my team right now because I've lost my Roselli Berry on my Crook, and Crook is low, and so the Intimidate isn't going to be around for too much longer. So I need stuff to be able to take hits from Absol, and that is where this play comes in, because even if he has HP Ice or something like that, my Kyurem will be able to take that. I will be able to get a Roost off here, and roosting right now will mean that Absol will not be able to KO me with a Play Rough. So that was a really crucial roost right there. It also just means that I'm healthier. I'm able to take on a Manaphy a bit better. So I really wanted to get that up, and knowing that this Zapdos wasn't able to touch well, it can't touch a lot of my team, to be fair, is pretty good. He roars me into Virizion, which is actually fine for me. It means that I can just fire off a Stone Edge, and I do manage to KO that Zapdos. It was looking bulky, but Expert Belt Stone Edge turned out to be enough, which is great. Now Absol comes in, and this can OHKO my Virizion with a Play Rough, so I am going to switch out. I'm going to sack my Crocodile right now. I'm able to get the Intimidate off before I faint, which is alright. But I really don't have any good switch-ins on this anymore, and so Crook has to go down. I am slightly concerned about Entei because this is one of the things that can check it really well. I mean, I OHKO Entei with it, whereas the other things don't really OHKO, but I can get damage on it and then take it out after that. So anyway, I go into my Electros now, knowing that it can take any one hit from the Absol still. It's still really healthy. My Electros was so pivotal in this match, and pivotal because of the pivot switches and everything as well, just allowing me to get loads of momentum, so I'm able to take out the Gramble, which was still kind of a threat, although its main job was switching in on the Crocodile, which it couldn't do anymore, and Crook was dead anyway. I go into my Kyurem now. He only has Manaphy, Absol and Entei left, and I thought that this was the best thing to do because Absol can't kill it, so I'm either going to bring in Manaphy or Entei, which I can deal with respectively. I can either get a big hit off with on the Entei, or deal with the Manaphy like I do here. I'm still not sure what set the Manaphy is. I couldn't tell from the skull damage just because it did so little. I don't really know. But looking at that damage there, I'm still not sure. It probably is. It's probably invested in special attack. As the Manaphy stays in, I'm able to Volt Switch on it, which is really good. But I need to go into Kyurem here. I can't really afford to go for the Leaf Blade with the Virizion, because if that gives a free switch into Entei, I'm going to have to sack something. So I need to drop a Draco right now. I did look. Draco definitely kills Manaphy from here. It would OHKO the Absol. And if the Entei comes in, it takes so much damage that I can then revenge it with either Mew or my my Virizion. I had to go for the Draco there, basically. I couldn't go into my Virizion there. But I am -2 now, but I'm not too concerned. If he is an SD Absol, that's still an option. I would be able to do over 50% with a Never Melt Ice Beam at -2, which is fantastic. Entei actually ends up coming in, but I have Squirmy Worm to sack because at this stage it doesn't outspeed either of his remaining Pokemon. It is kind of a free sack. I can go for a Volt Switch here as he switches into Absol. Not really sure what he was predicting there, but yeah, Squirmy Worm is a good death fodder for me at this stage. He does decide just to knock off Electros there. And right now I can go back into Cold Turkey because I know that I can take a Play Rough from this amount of health, and I'm just going to drop a Draco Meteor as the Play Rough does actually come out, but as you can see it wasn't really close. That wasn't a roll there. That was quite a comfortable survival, as I can go for the Draco, which is going to KO this Absol. I couldn't go for the Ice Beam there because Geo could have switched into his Entei. If he had done that to maybe try and get some damage on my Kyurem, to then sweep with Absol, I would have actually preserved Kyurem, because I just needed some damage on this Entei, so that then I could revenge it and then take on Absol with my Kyurem at full health. I needed my Kyurem to be at full health really to take on the Absol. As you can see here, I just dropped another Draco, and as the Entei is going for a Sacred Fire, this confirms that it is Adamant, not Jolly. Because I outspeed and I'm able to get the damage that I need. Either Mew or Virizion will be able to take it on from here, because Mew can take one hit and it outspeeds, so 2 Side Shocks would have KO'd. But I do go for the Virizion Stone Edge just because I like rolling the dice, apparently. It would have been much safer to go into my Mew at that stage and click Side Shock twice, but I didn't, and I don't know why. But yeah, that's going to be the game, and I got a win. I won a game with this team, which is fantastic, and I'm so happy about it, because that was a really good match as well. There wasn't really too much hacks involved. There were some burns that Gio got, but that's absolutely fine because I hit all my moves. I hit 2 Dracos and a Stone Edge, so Gio, you're allowed to get all the burns that you want against me as long as I can hit my moves. That's fine. Yeah, so not really too much hacks on either side, which was really nice to see. And just a really, really great, intense battle, because it was all about, for me, it was all about making sure that my Mons had just enough health to survive the onslaught that could be coming from, the Absol, basically. Absol was the biggest threat there. I still had my Colbur-bearing Mew in the wings that didn't even touch the field, to be fair. It was a Subcom Mind set. It didn't really come to play. It wouldn't really have been... I don't think Subcom Mind would have really been the best set in this instance, just because it didn't have to beat a Calm Mind Cress, and yeah, I would have been better maybe being a bit more offensive with it, or maybe having another coverage move, but it didn't need to come out, which is absolutely fine. And yeah, 2-0. Thank you very much for the match, Gio. That was really great. You played really well and made some interesting switches. I was just really happy that I could use Kyurem to its full potential in this match. I've really been wanting to use Kyurem in draft, and I feel like I haven't been using it very well, and this is how I wanted to use it. Also, Virizion, showing why it's a good pick, because it was able to revenge a lot of those base 100 Mons. It was able to revenge the Entei in the end, and also the Zapdos, which is really cool. And I liked this Virizion set as well. I think this is the team that I liked the most in terms of prep. I think it works really well together. Yeah, but that Gramble, oh my lord, the Gramble damage and then Entei just taking out Suicune had me so scared, because then I was much more vulnerable to like Absol. Entei was going to get a kill. Thank the Lord that it was Adamant, because if it had been Jolly, the speed ties would have been so scary. So scary. But yeah, that was a really great match. So you Mewcastle United fans have something to be happy about, and I'm glad that I could bring that to you. And I mean to go on. I do still intend to make some changes to the team. Probably not groundbreaking, but just giving me some extra options with my other picks. Really interesting though, because I feel like in this match, the Mons that really shone were my tier 4s in Virizion and Electros. Virizion being a really good revenge killer, and Electros getting so much momentum. I really like Electros in the Draft League. It gets so many coverage moves, and the slow Volt turn really helps out. It means that I could get into like Kyurem safely. I could get into just threats really safely. So yeah, the lower tier Mons were really proving their worth. I feel like Suicune and Mew, though they are awesome, I just haven't been using them to their full potential, whereas the lower tier Mons, which it's probably not surprising that because I'm played the lower tiers more than the higher tiers, but yeah, I feel like I'm more comfortable using those Pokemon. So yeah, I'm probably going to make some team swaps and stuff, so you guys can look forward to that. All that's left to be said is I have been foofootoo, you've been awesome, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Goodbye.